Hi, everyone. I am Jason Morgan, editor of Fleet Equipment, and welcome to Fleet Equipment Unscripted, the video interview series that connects you with the top minds in the industry. Today, I'm talking with Ed Peterson, CEO of Wrench, a full-service mobile mechanic platform. Ed, good to see you. I know last time we talked just before the pandemic got rolling, and then the world went crazy. And now, as we're talking, the world is changing again. So glad to catch up with you. How are you doing there in your? It's the Seattle office, right?
Yeah, no, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. And interesting times, right? And so I appreciate you carving out some time in the day to learn a little bit more about and share a little bit more of the Wrench story with your readers and viewers.
Yeah. So last time we spoke, we got caught up on the Wrench platform, and you were talking about how this on demand send the service technician professionals to where the job is needed, right, where the service is needed, but kind of spoke to a culture of on-demand convenience at that time, and you paralleled services like Uber and those kind of services. And now, like, the culture has shifted dramatically, but it seems that there's still that demand, for distance. People are staying at home a little bit more. So how have you seen on-site commercial repair for your commercial customers change in the past 2 to 3 months?
Yeah, boy, great question. And it has changed as you can imagine. You're right. One of the things that we always focused on, particularly on the fleet side with our business, was, this concept of uptime and, eliminating downtime, if you will. We come in an off hour, save you from the soft costs of just, dealing with logistics of taking vehicles to shops and not, where we have full transparency on pricing and so forth. And that still does resonate, and it still really is a cornerstone of the value that all of our fleet customers see. However, to your point, it has really bubbled to the top of that list, right, is the fact that, I kind of joke and say we invented social distancing before social distancing was cool in this space. And, we're there. We oftentimes, will show up at one of our customers and there is no interaction with anyone in a physical, if you will, sense. There's no shaking hands. The key is left out in a spot where we can grab the key for the vehicle, do the preventative maintenance repair that is associated with a number of vehicles, and then place the keys back in a secure location. And there is you are social distanced, and so that pitch has bubbled up to the top on kind of that pain point that we see our customers experiencing.
For sure. So with you dispatching technicians to lots of different sites, right? What kind of safety protocols, guidance do you give them and the company that you're working with? How has that communication been back and forth, just to keep everybody safe and let them know, here's how our processes have changed, here's how we're going to take care of those kind of things?
Yeah, without a doubt. And so, on our side with the technicians, we've put in, very, very detailed training around, and everything from, temperature check in the morning, making sure our guys are healthy, our people are healthy, making sure that they're doing best practices with masks and gloves and cleaning things with disinfecting. We do have a disinfecting service where, it's an impossible battle to fully disinfect an entire vehicle, but we do get into plants where we do all the high touch area, steering wheel to door handles and seat belts and things like that, where we provide that service to wipe down those in their vehicles. We disinfect the key before we hand them back over. So we do things like that as well. We've also done training where, there is no, we used to go in and, it was a handshake, hey, good to see you. It's all right. We're here to take care of things. And, we don't do that anymore, right? There's a little bit more of a best practices to sort of have some standard distancing that is happening even on the interaction when we do in fact come in contact with people at our customers' locations.
Right. A couple of things there I want to follow up on. First, on the cleaning and disinfecting. I know that service came out really relatively rapidly after the pandemic really picked up here in the States. What went into that, and what kind of continuous training do you do for those technicians to make sure they are hitting those spots? I mean, you mentioned the keys and the other places you just might not think of, right?
Yeah, well, we have one of the things that we've done very, very well since the beginning of the company is build out support systems for our technicians, and that's using technology and communication and weekly meetings and so forth. And we do have a whole system of account management that deals and that helps manage the processes with our customers. We have service writers and service advisors that help to work through things with our technicians. And so it really is has been in our DNA, if you will, and our focus to be able to build these systems in place to support technicians when they go out to customers for whatever the issues may be. This is just another element or another added on process to that existing system that has already been there.
For sure. The other thing that I find interesting, and I'm wondering if you're experiencing, I know we all have become video conference experts, and 3 months ago, we had no idea how to use this stuff. And I've seen on the service and aftermarket side within the trucking industry, continued service, right? People are continuing doing their preventative maintenance service. Certain instances haven't fallen off a cliff. They're continuing because trucks are still rolling. And there seems to be this acceleration of digital platforms, or at least acceptance in that regard, across an industry that maybe was a little more hesitant in the past to adopt. Have you seen anything like that in talking with customers? Are they more interested, more willing to take the leap into new technologies right now?
Yeah, I think that's certainly there. And the beginning, most people start with, hey, can you solve my basic problem, which is maintenance and repair, issues that I have with my existing fleet. And when we do how we work through how the process works, and that we are really truly a tech forward company, I think without a doubt, a definite benefit to all of our customers. However, still, we never lose sight of the fact is that we are there to solve a problem and to fix the issues with your vehicles, because we are focused on customer first and solving the biggest problem with the biggest issue with the customer, which is keeping that fleet on the road and up and operational. Now, we use a lot of technology, and you and I have chatted in the past. The interesting thing there is a lot of the really complex technologies on the back end that many people do not see, and that has to do with diagnosing vehicles and figuring out what is required to fix the problem. How long will it take? Where are the logistics of the parts? What is the best price for the parts? What is the best location for the parts? All of these things that kind of go into that back end or that back office, if you will, around these sorts of systems. And we've spent a ton of time building those out. And I do think that people see that, they experience it, but they may not always see it, sort of firsthand. Without a doubt, they do enjoy the whole, look, you can book and schedule all of your maintenance without actually interacting with someone. You can go onto the site, you can the fleet portal, if you will, on the wrench site as a customer, and you can manage your own process. And it just is way more efficient for our customers than having to do what has traditionally been the take it down to the shop, get a ride back from somebody, and then wait in queue. So I think that really is one of the big things that we've solved. And yeah, that technology drives a huge component of that.
Right, and it's interesting how the pandemic, the social distancing. I mean, you mentioned it yourself, the handshake, right? This is a handshake industry. It's been built on the handshake. But interacting with these digital tools, having the convenience, hours might be staggered. Maybe it's supplementing technicians in their own shop even. So having that convenience, right? Being able to set the schedule, build it into where you need it. I mean, people are starting to, I think it's starting to accelerate that trend that was going that way anyhow.
I think that's right. And, the schedule is such a big part of it, right? And one of the things that we are able to do is to move schedules around. We do have some flexibility in that. And so we have, for example, we have a security company that they drive at night, right? So when we're there during the middle of the day. We have other companies that are doing deliveries during the middle of the day, and they really need us there in the middle of the night. And so we're able to adjust schedules around according to those, to the needs of our customers. And I think that without a doubt it gets back to that core of how do we make our customers more efficient? How do we eliminate downtime or provide a better uptime for all of their fleets so that they can get back to running their own business so that they can run their business more efficiently?
Definitely, and especially as we saw fleets shifting applications, right? I mean, the ones that were delivering essential goods, their duty cycles increased. I know that one company saw an increase of utilization of trucks and trailers between midnight and 4 a.m. when the hours of service exemption or the regulation was relaxed. Duty cycles, going in different duty cycles, picking up different loads, that kind of stuff. So having that flexibility to still stay on top of that maintenance when you need it is key, because that will really impact fleet usage along the line. Going forward, how are you continuing to develop the platform, integrate fleet communications with your customer, that kind of, and just kind of keep that building that relationship within the platform?
You know, it's interesting you say that, because one of the goals we've always had, you know, our dream in life is that 100% of the that you would need as a fleet to be maintenance or repaired on a vehicle will be done in an automated way until the technician arrives to install the part or fix the actual problem. And right now, we're north of 40% of our bookings on jobs go all from diagnostic all the way through until the technician shows up, are all run through our automated system. We're able to diagnose a vehicle, to be able to price it, figure out all the logistics, schedule it, all the way around in the full automated system without having any human interaction. And that's a big deal. I mean, that really is a big deal. Within that, we're close to 90% of then solving that problem on the first stop. And so what I mean by that is, not only are we automating everything through at a growing number of at a growing rate, we're also, our accuracy is really, really good. So we can figure out what's wrong with the vehicle, figure out everything that's required to get it taken care of, and then we're right. And it's getting better. Why do I say it's getting better? Because one of the things that we have on the back end, if you will, is that we do get truth data. We know whether we're right or wrong. And we can then improve our system using that data process to actually continue to get better and better for our subsequent experiences for our customers.
Right, for sure. And I know we've talked about that before, but since you're here, I'll play the fleet side of it. So it's like, well, how do you know? What information do I need to provide to you, either when I'm scheduling the maintenance or reaching out? What information do I need to give you, and how do you do that?
Yeah, and so, you know, there's really kind of two things that are built off of our fleet product. One is we have a diagnostic wizard that really is a conversational AI engine. And so what that really says is, hey, we start to ask you a series of questions. And, you know, if you and I were to hear a noise in a vehicle, for example, as simple as this may sound, you know, we both would probably describe it in two different ways. And so what we do is we give people a series of choices. And then as we ask those questions and as they answer them, it then drives us to another set of questions, and we continue to narrow it down. Our goal is to be able to get, you know, really with a huge a rate of accuracy. Goal obviously is 100% accuracy, right? But to get at a huge rate of accuracy in under 6 questions to figure out what's wrong with the vehicle. That's a pretty lofty goal. From there, we then take it to, all right, what's required? That really is almost a machine learning type engine, right? And that when we step through what's required, all the parts that are required, how do we get the parts, how long does it take, what is our accuracy level? When we send someone out, we know whether we're right or wrong. When we're right or wrong, we take that information, because we are recording it, and then we plug it back into our system. And so we get better and better. So we know, all right, we walked you through this process. We asked you these questions. We came up with this as the problem. We were right or wrong there. Okay, good. We know that. And then, all right, here is how we decided to solve that problem. Here are all the things that we said were required to solve that problem. And was that right or wrong? And since we have that truth file on the back end, every single job that whole system gets better and better as it goes. And so I think that really is something, and that's where I kind of, if you go back to the beginning of our chat, where I was saying, boy, there's this underlying kind of back office, if you will, this back end engine that we have that a lot of people don't see, but that's really where kind of the complexity on the tech side is there. They experience it, But they don't, they don't really necessarily know everything that's going on, which is great. And that's the way it should be. Because at the end of the day, every single one of our customers, they come back and what do they really want? They just want their vehicle or fixed if there's something that has to be repaired so they can get back to work. And they want to do that in the most streamlined, convenient, and most efficient way possible. We're striving to do.
Right, for sure. And it speaks to, I think those are trends that are going to accelerate along this within the commercial and heavy duty service side. The predictive and prescriptive maintenance is going to continue to drive, and the paperless, right? There's no, you're not filling out papers. You're answering questions that are going to lead to a service instance that you then have a record of, you have the history of, and fleets can use that on their own side to do their own kind of predictions.
You're right on. And, it's one of the things where we really kind of what we call is predictive maintenance, because we collect all of this data. And we also are collecting it, on make, model, trim of different fleet vehicles and consumer vehicles for that matter. We're able to use that data to create patterns around failure rates of parts, things like that, hey, this may happen to your driving patterns, the mileage that you've got, how you're driving the vehicle, the parts that you have on that vehicle that are associated with that make, model. And we then can get out in front, and the goal there, remove all repair and just maintenance.
Right, for sure. And that's one of the goals along the fleet world. And the service side has been a little slower than the operational side in terms of telematics and tracking all that. But it's looking, with more and more of these conversations and more truck life cycles and lifetimes getting a little longer in the tooth now with the economy in a bit of a recession here. The service focus is just going to be huge, and to your point, maintaining uptime and making it more of a maintenance issue and not a unplanned service issue is huge.
I think that's right.
Ed, thanks so much for taking the time. I appreciate you catching up, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon.
That sounds good. Thanks for taking the time to chat as well, and it's always a pleasure, and look forward to talk to you soon.